Hi, this is Rob Southgate, podcaster and co-founder of the Southgate Media Group. The Southgate Media Group is proud to present the supersized two-part 50th episode of Capes and Lunatics, Avengers Infinity War.
That's right, everyone. Hello, I'm back again. It's me, Phil, to discuss once again the only thing anyone's talking about this weekend, Avengers Infinity War, for part 2 of our 50th episode. Charlie was going to join me again today, but I don't know, he kind of like disintegrated. I don't know. But that's all right. I've replaced him with his number one right-hand man, Mr. Maz Manzoor. Say hello, Maz.
How you guys doing?
Hey, Maz.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
And I don't know if he's a big Marvel fan over there. I'm sure you've heard him everywhere and anywhere on the Southgate Media Group, Mr. Jesse Jackson.
Yes, I am thrilled to be here. I am taking off my DC fanboy hat and embracing the greatness of this new movie.
Great to have you, Jesse. And we have the entire Tire Biters crew here. Well, we have the brains, Diane, thankfully back after her surgery.
Thank you. Thank you. The older half.
We'll get there. Marnell, Miss Palin, what's the number one opening week? What movie has the number one opening domestic gross ever?
Avengers: Age of Infinity, or Infinity Wars.
Hey.
Whatever movie. I'm here to talk about the White House Correspondents' Dinner. You fooled me, Phil.
I love it.
But you're still my second favorite Maverick.
Oh, you betcha.
You betcha.
She reads all the magazines.
I do.
That come across her desk.
You look amazing, by the way.
Thank you. I'm like putting lipstick on a pit bull.
We should call you Madam Governor. Governor.
Former half-turned Governor Sarah Palin.
Yes.
I quit early.
Yes, we do. Yes, you do.
So therefore, Madam Govern is a perfect because it's not quite Madam Governor. So
yes.
I'll just warn you, gentlemen, don't get on her bad side because she knows how to hunt and like cut things
and skin
up
small animals.
Yes,
yes.
And skin large animals.
So
but don't worry, I'm quitting this podcast halfway through. That's what I do.
Singer-songwriter Marian Call, who is from Alaska, and she has a wonderful song, I Wish I Was a Real Alaskan Girl. And if you guys want to be entertained, Google that. Marian Call's an amazing singer-songwriter, but she talks about that. And she did a whole song of Battlestar Galactica and Firefly-themed songs several years ago. So it's always nice. It's always good to have Jane on your side is one of the songs she sang.
I will definitely have to look that up. I'm not going to be in character the entire podcast because that would be grating on everybody's nerves.
I was here to talk Avengers Infinity War, but somehow every time you're involved, Marnell, the train goes right off the tracks.
Well, I do have to say that the views, thoughts, and opinions of the following satirical character belong solely to the character and not to Southgate Media Group, Capes and Lunatics, Biters, The Real Alaska Housewives, or any of the podcasters therein. The following is satire and not to be meant to be offensive to anyone. So any butt-hurtedness, you can just suck it up, snowflakes.
No offense meant. No offense meant.
I can see the real Palin saying that. Oh my lord. All right, so I mean, I had a chance to talk last night, but Avengers Infinity War. I mean, what did everyone love about this movie?
I'm going to give it 4.857 kicking names and taking asses.
Yes.
Out of 5.
I liked a lot about the movie. I thought they did the villain really well. I understood Thanos. I empathized with him. I understood his point, and I think he might have been right all along. I think we're all fighting a losing battle. That was a good thing to do for a villain. But there were some problems that I was unable to overlook. So.
The whole Star-Lord slapping Thanos when they were like trying to save the universe.
Right. That was ridiculous, but overall, they turned his character into a caricature. They did to Quill what they did to Homer Simpson or Kevin Malone on The Office. They turned him into Gilligan, and that wasn't cool. I didn't think they needed to do that to progress the plot. And I mean, they shared one kiss. He hasn't even slept with Gamora yet, and all of a sudden he's so upset over this that he's willing to forsake the fate of the entire universe. When they're so close to getting the glove off, that's hard to swallow.
I will grant you that, but I also think that he has kind of a savior's complex when it comes to women because of his mother. He couldn't save his mother.
Yeah, and I don't think he is the brightest tool in the toolbox. So
no, but he's certainly shiny.
Yes, yes.
2.5 hours and none of the Chris's took their shirts off. I wasted my money.
Is that why it isn't a 10 out of 10?
Exactly.
I don't think Pratt wanted to take his shirt off because he's one cheeseburger away from being fat. Remember?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey!
It's been a tough hurdle. It's been a tough breakup for him.
Curvy men are good looking too. Like, we respect the dad bod here.
Well, I as a man of size, I appreciate those kind words.
All curves matter.
Yes. So
there it is.
Yes. As not only as one of the guys who does a musical podcast on the network, I just feel like my summation of the movie is I close my eyes only for a moment and the moment's gone.
Oh.
All my dreams pass before my eyes. A curiosity, dust in the wind. All they are is dust in the wind. I give it 10 out of 10. Pretty poignant Kansas lyrics is my rating.
Is that your rating for the Kansas lyrics or for the movie?
Both. I was really worried that you were going to have problems putting everything in there. It's going to come across as, okay, I got to make sure this person has time. Got to make sure this has time. And I felt like it flowed pretty well. I felt like it worked like a really well done, patchwork quilt versus just a jumbled collage. And so I was really impressed with it. It does feel good that all these different, I can remember for my birthday, my wife and son went and saw the original Iron Man with me because neither one of them are big superhero fans. And we went afterwards and they were like, wow, this was a really good movie. This was just a good movie, period. And then here we are 10 years later coming up with this. It's kind of a pretty epic event.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised. I'm not surprised, but yeah, they did do a good job with this movie because, like we were saying before, there was a lot to unpack here, even more than like Civil War or any of the other movies. It was a
giant ensemble cast, and it was pretty amazing that they were able to get all of those parts and pieces moving nicely.
Except for Scarlet Witch and Vision, there was way too much time spent on those two. And I think that time would have been better used, giving us a little bit more of the relationship between Thanos and Gamora. Yeah. That moment where they're standing there and the Soul Stone demands a sacrifice of something he loves, that moment should have hit harder, and it didn't. All of a sudden, the biggest bad guy in the universe turns around and he's crying, and you don't give us any ladder to get there to buy that moment. I didn't believe that he loved her. They didn't build that at all. And so that was a lost opportunity for could have been an incredibly powerful and humanizing moment.
Yeah, but Boz, you can't gonna have your cake. You want to eat your cake and to eat it too, because you were saying about the whole Star-Lord and Gamora thing. It's like, oh, he's all shook up about her, and they're barely. I don't think if they hadn't shown as much Vision in Scarlet Witch, they that last scene wouldn't have had as much impact as it did.
I don't
So
think,
maybe
I don't
they
think
had
it
to-
needed it.
They had to build both relationships equally. I mean, I do think that for me, and maybe I realized, oh my God, that I am such not a geek that I missed Thor Ragnarok completely. So I don't know if they built up anything about Vision and Scarlet Witch in that, but I really felt like they needed to build that up more. So I think if anything, giving equal time to those relationships, because I needed to be convinced that there was something between Scarlet Witch and Vision, and I was.
And I think, spoiler alert, in the next movie, they're going to have a lot more room for some of these other people who didn't get as much screen time since half the cast is like disappeared.
Yeah. So aren't we just going to relive a lot of stuff in the next installment of the movie? Because a spoiler alert, half the people die in the end, and we know that though they can't die, which was the cheap shot that we were looking at. That it's none of the deaths that they had even previous to everyone disintegrating mean anything now. Like I was pretty devastated when Loki died because I love Tom Hiddleston.
In the first five
I know.
minutes. Yeah.
Like how do you kill off the some of the comic relief in the first 5 minutes in a serious manner? And so now all of the deaths that happened previously are cheapened by, I mean, even the Vision's death is cheapened because you know that they can just go back and bring anybody back now. So that's the big thing that I had is we are going to relive a lot of the what's already happened, probably in a different way, maybe from some different perspectives. Maybe they'll go through some Scarlet Witch and some Vision or some Thanos and Gamora stuff, because we're going to have to see all this over again because they have to bring everybody back.
Right.
Yeah, and I think there's no good way to do this because if you didn't have people die, you're like, oh, it's a cop-out. Oh, how could we have this huge battle and not have people die? But then in the world of comic books, no one's dead ever.
Right.
So
Revolving door,
it is. It's kind of weird. I thought emotionally it worked for me because Thanos, I think he sold it after the fact. The flashback with how he adopted her kind of helped to build that enough for me. I see your point that it could have been it was already 2.5 hours, so I know all of us would always want a little bit more, and not to get us off on a tangent, but I'm a little surprised how much the new Spider-Man is just embraced. I had an executive that said once to me, she's incredibly big geek. She's one of the company I used to work for, one of the senior executives. And she goes, do we really need a third Spider-Man series in my lifetime? And I, she was kind of sarcastic about it, but this latest version of Spider-Man has just seemed beloved by people, and by having him die, I just heard people in the audience. I had I'm in a room full of fans. Oh, there's just all kinds of sadness, and so I think that's cool.
You know what I think it is? It's because this portrayal of Spider-Man, Peter Parker embodies the same awe and wonder at his situation that we do.
Yes.
Okay.
Somebody else felt some different way about it, but he seems to genuinely be so happy to be there, and his joy and his elation mirror our own, and that's really easy to identify with and be on his side immediately.
Plus, for the first
point.
time, it's not like a 40-year-old portraying a teenager.
Yeah.
Right.
And he plays it so sweetly. He plays it
does.
like the young boy that he truly is.
And we didn't have to sit through a movie of the origin story again.
Right.
Like Kevin Smith said, no more origin stories. Just hand out a pamphlet for anybody in the beginning who doesn't know.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
He's got Iron Man's seal of approval, so automatically he's in,
And I love the fact that he always calls him Mr. Stark. Bless you. I love that he calls him Mr. Stark, and that scene where, Tony says, congratulations, kid, you're an Avenger. Just the audience went crazy on that moment. So that was really special.
But
I do have to say that for somebody who is almost entirely dead inside, I did have a little bit of feelings when Spider-Man died. That scene kind of got to me. So
almost.
Almost. Yeah.
I mean,
obviously off her meds.
It was like a heartbreaking moment, but I feel like a lot of those deaths were like the safety net of like telling people, oh no, don't worry. Because I mean, who did they take out? Spider-Man, Black Panther, most of the Guardians of the Galaxy, except for Rocket, and all we know they've already confirmed they're all getting at least one more movie each.
Right.
Yeah.
So like if they, like I was saying last night, if they would have taken out like say Steve Rogers, Tony Stark, people would be freaking out, be like, oh, is this permanent? Is this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we talked about it beforehand just among coworkers, and I said, my theory is that Tony Stark would die, just because I think you want someone from the original series to go. Robert Downey Jr. has been an amazing character, and I could see him going, yeah, let's give me a good death, and then we'll move on to somebody else wearing the suit.
Well, and he's been trying to go. Like, they just keep throwing money at him to be Iron Man. And, like, he pretty much writes his own check to be Iron Man at this point. So, like, it would totally make sense to kill off Stark that way.
Yeah. And I think he's tired of doing it. Let him go.
Yeah. Although, I mean, it could be next movie, because I'm thinking maybe someone gets that gauntlet to use it to bring everyone back, but maybe someone has to sacrifice themselves to do that.
Maybe we'll get really lucky and it will be Pepper Potts.
What, you don't think the end of the next movie is going to be that wedding?
Let's hope not.
And hey, she makes her own money. She's selling goop.
That's right.
So
nests and what else? Jade eggs.
I did any once in your mind when when Doctor Strange goes, I've gone through all these scenarios and there was only one, like 14 in my mind, I heard so you're telling me there's a chance. There's been a lot of theories, and I'm sure you guys have read it, that the reason he gave him the stone is the only scenario where they win, and Tony Stark is involved with something. So,
So, could you repeat that? The only way to win is?
So there's a lot of theories that Tony Stark is involved with the scenario that lets them win. Mm-hmm. And so Stephen Strange makes the calculated move that he's going to kill Tony right now. So I have to give him the stone, kind of sacrificing my knight or, my queen in this game of chess to ultimately victory, because if Tony Stark dies, then there's no way we can ultimately win.
Right.
So do you think he has a plan, or did he see the finality of the situation and see, okay, there's no way out. Half of us are going to have to die, but if some of us have to survive, that's the only way.
So my theory is that he has a vague, not a clear picture, but just a vague of, I know these kind of elements have to be exist for us to go. And so I think he's taking on a leap of faith to, quote a Springsteen lyrics, which is required. If you have me on the podcast, take a drink as you do the drinking game, that, you have to take a leap of faith. And that's, I'm going to give him the stone, playing the long game.
See, and I think that bringing all of the stones together, even if Thanos got it first, you can alter time and space and reality and life and everything. So I think the way that Doctor Strange saw the outcome of all the stones have to come together to undo everything that's already been done and everything that's going to be done. So Thanos has to get all of the stones, and then we can go back and fix everything. That's my theory.
How interesting.
Very nice.
Well, there is a theory that the next movie is going to involve time travel in some fashion.
I mean, it's going to have to,
perhaps, right? Yeah. I don't know, unless someone just gets their hands on that gauntlet and, wishes everything back.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious of you guys. I thought that as we talk about, this great quilt of show, so I'm going to mix metaphors and kind of do a gumbo of storytelling, that it was just the right amount of humor seasoning. I thought that there was plenty of action, plenty of fights, but there was enough humor in it to keep it moving, but they never played it overly slapstick, at least from my perspective.
I concur.
Curious about this.
Well, yeah, it's not a DC movie.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I personally thought the jokes were a little heavy-handed for a movie that was as serious as it was supposed to be. This is the end of everything, or the culmination of everything. Let's take it a little bit more. For my taste, it left me with like, okay, guys, come on. What are we trying to do here? Are we trying to do a funny movie? Are we doing Ragnarok, or are we doing the culmination of your universe? You know,
interesting.
Well, I think they want the combo, but it's like if you don't throw in the humor, it's going to be like, this doesn't seem like the Guardians of the Galaxy to me. This doesn't seem like Tony Stark to me.
Yeah,
they did need a little bit of balance because some of the action scenes were so fast and so furious. It was kind of hard to tell what was going on for someone who's not quite as steeped in geek as I should be. So having some balance was good.
Well,
it was a bit slapsticky with the Guardians. I do think that.
And I was going to say, you have, the Guardians of the Galaxy who are slapstick coming together with, the Avengers who a lot of them are serious, but then you have Tony Stark who can just never take anything seriously. Right. So, and I got to say that in stressful moments, people have a tendency to turn to gallows humor. So,
the Chandler effect.
And I mean, Moz, how serious can you be when you have the Winter Soldier twirling around the rabbit with a machine gun?
Right. By the way, rabbit. That was perfect.
Sweet
that
rabbit.
was pretty funny.
My favorite scene in the whole movie is Drax on the floor going, "I'll do you one better. Why is Gamora?" I was laughing for like a good 2 minutes when he said that. I don't know why, but
that's the most underrated love story. Him and Thor. He's like, "Hey, you were just a dude. He is like a angel and a pirate had a baby.
A pirate angel.
Pirate angel."
I absolutely loved when Loki got to say, "We have a Hulk."
Yeah,
that's exactly what was said to him before the Hulk smashed him.
Exactly.
And how dare you give me another movie with a giant war and no Hulk? How dare you?
Thank you. I was going to ask if anyone else was disappointed by the fact that what we basically got was Hulk running around in an Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
But I went to the movie with a comic book geek, and he said that this is a common theme with the Hulk, that whenever he gets confronted by a bigger baddie than him, that he gets performance anxiety.
I swear, this never happens to me.
I know.
A little green Viagra. That's all he needs.
There was a whole, we'll wait 30 minutes and try again theme, too. Wasn't there?
Nah, there totally was.
But I actually, if I wouldn't have gone to the movie with somebody who was big into the comics, I wouldn't have known that. So yes, I was very perplexed about the whole Hulk being not hulking.
Well, right. I kind of got that it was a fear thing because I mean, in these movies, I don't think Hulk's come across anything he couldn't overpower, and then all of a sudden it was,
No, but but considering the relationship between us as the viewer and them as the movie makers, considering that, they should have found a way around it. Even if you needed to have him have an extra 30 minutes, get him there though.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's Hulk's like scared.
One movie where there was no Thor, and now you tease us right at the top with this amazing 5-second battle scene with him and Thanos, which just looked amazing, and it just got me out of my seat. And all of a sudden, no more Hulk.
I'm thinking we're going to get.
That means that Hulk is going to come through in the next movie.
That's what I'm thinking because they didn't touch any of those original Avengers, so I think it's going to be like that original team.
So what you're saying is Hulk scared, Maz sad.
Yeah.
I think it was more than just fear, though. I mean, it seemed like there was some real resistance on the part of the Hulk to coming through, and I'm not sure what that's all about, but it was more than just fear.
Maybe he's just tired too, because didn't they say Ragnarok wasn't he the Hulk full time for like 2 years? Maybe he's just tired.
Yeah.
I had not gotten a lot of spoilers in the movie, but I had read somewhere that the Hulk doesn't appear again. And so I wasn't surprised because I had been spoiled. So I knew that was happening. So I was more curious how it was going to happen. So I thought them addressing that, he was truly kind of held up in his banner shell, because he doesn't want to get hurt again. That worked for me. I do think there is a payoff in the next movie that I think he will go all Hulkish and work on that. So, delayed gratification as we continue to try to push on the, semi naughty side.
But I mean, I get Maz's point that like
Yeah.
that last scene in Wakanda where like it looked like Banner was going to die in the suit. I was waiting for him to say, "Hulk, you know what? I know you're scared, but guess what? If you don't come out, we're dead."
Yeah, I
We're both
agree.
going to die.
Which is probably the way the next movie opens.
Probably.
Really, realistically.
So, and that was another thing that I had where Scarlet Witch was like so resistant on having to kill Vision. And yeah, that really sucks to have to kill someone you love. But when the fate of half the people in the universe, possibly including you, is at stake, aren't you just like, we'll take one for the team?
Yeah, I think that was a little weird. Though we did get the great scene with Black Panther's little sister asking, "Hey, why didn't y'all blank, 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 blank?" We hadn't thought about it.
No, hold on. I thought that scene was incredibly almost insulting.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean they're trying. They know they have like a cultural gold mine on their hands with the Black Panther and the Black community, but they go too far sometimes. Like you're telling me a scientist didn't think to integrate all the neurons to work together as one. That's not a simple enough idea, and that's what you use to represent this girl's genius. It was a lazy plot device, and I thought it was really insulting and lazy. That was what I did.
I liked it.
Definitely right.
Yeah,
it was lazily written. I get both of your points, but I agree that that the way that they presented it was lazy. It should have been like, well, we don't have that technology, and it would have been like vibranium, biatches,
or something actually smart.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I love that character.
I know. I was gonna say I get Maz's point. They were trying to boost her up to be smarter than both Tony Stark and Bruce Banner combined. But I mean, when Thanos' guy came into the lab there, I was like, "Don't you kill her!"
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. If she died, she'd come back next movie anyway.
Right.
Yes.
Or if you were gonna do that anyways, at least give them all honorable deaths. Don't make them frivolous deaths, because then if they come back, I don't really care. You know what I mean?
I think that's another like sign that all these deaths are going to be undone is like nobody did like the heroic sacrifice.
Right.
And, yeah,
like, you robbed them all, like you Lieutenant Dan'd them all.
Although, isn't it more powerful in some way to just watch them kind of fade away?
I don't know. They deserved better. That's all I kept thinking. They fought so hard. They deserved better.
The one thing in the fadeaway that really got me was it was really incongruent. I mean, some of them like faded from the bottom up, some of them faded left to right, and it was always like
who had more lines left.
And like, the last thing you see is Wanda's face, and then of course the last thing you see of Samuel L. Jackson is him pushing the button. So like, I mean, like he wouldn't have got a chance to push the button if he had started fading from like left to right instead of right to left. So it was. I think it should have been there should have been a little more continuity to the fade or whatever. But yeah, so. They had some lazy writing.
That was just the best. He had the best fade out though, because he was just like, "Oh, mother."
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
And I will tell you, I will in spirit of our geek blind spots, and confessions that we had earlier. Mm-hmm. I did not recognize the logo on the cell phone.
Oh,
someone had to shout it out in the theater where I was.
So. Me too.
I had to go, Google that, because I was thinking, is it the Defenders? Are we going to get the TV shows, showing up? And then I was happy to see what it was. So.
Yeah, because I have a feeling she's going to show up in the next movie, because like her origin movie is like the movie right before Avengers 4, so they're going to do the origin. So then when she shows up in 4, you're like, oh, I know who that is.
Yes. So we had a lineup of people like waiting outside the auditorium to come see the next show, and I just wanted to be like, what was up with them sending up the bat signal at the end?
And can we just say
amazing?
Can we just say stupid people check? Because first of all, I got dragged out of my ice cave to hang out with people, which is kind of scary. But then the number of people who left before the credits were done.
As we talked about last night, there weren't that many in mind this time, but every time that, like, at this point, when people walk out in the middle of the credits in a Marvel movie, I'm like, do you not know what you're watching?
Have you never gone to a Marvel meeting before? Yeah. No, not ours. But I guess because it was Thursday night, you know, I mean, no one left. So or at least I did not see anyone waiting. So
do you guys find yourself going to non-Marvel movies and going, wait, was there an end credit scene?
All the time.
Like,
all the time.
The credits roll and we're all on our phones like, is there an end credit scene to A Quiet Place?
Yeah.
My trick is if the lights haven't come on yet, I'm not leaving.
Yes. Yeah, that is a very good rule to follow.
Okay.
I was just thinking it's an excellent strategy to get me to care about all of those names way down in the credit list.
2/3 of the entire United States were credited on this movie.
Well, I mean, look at
Alaska,
including Alaska.
Look at all the special effects. I knew it was going to be.
I mean, the credits themselves were 12% of a 2.5 hour movie. I'm like, oh my god!
And there was a lot of stunt doubles in this movie.
Yeah, there was,
especially that last scene in Wakanda.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I mean, like there were a lot of people working on it, and clearly they were, because Thanos looked amazing. Like to animate a guy that big and give him the kind of emotion they gave him. The only other thing in this universe we've seen is Hulk, and he doesn't have a wide range of emotions to display. This was very, very well done. I felt everything he was feeling.
Yeah, I felt like it was Josh Brolin. I didn't feel like, oh, it's just the CGI. I felt like he was not only his voice, but his mannerisms. I thought that was really well done. I thought it was a good villain and well portrayed. And, you could almost look at it as all good villains. Tough love. I'm making the tough call, but ultimately, my sacrifice is going to work out for the other half versus everyone dying. As we just talked about, I got to make the tough call, and and that's what he's doing.
So we talk about this on Biters a lot, where and it's a saying, and I don't know if Will Wheaton actually came up with it, but the villain is the hero of his own piece. And Thanos is absolutely the hero of his own piece. I mean, he thinks that he is making the hard decisions, but the right decisions. And that end scene with him where he walks out into I think they're rice paddy terraces. They were actually filmed in the Philippines. And he's looking out at the sunset and everything, and he does just have this sense of peace, like all is right in the universe.
Everyone's going to be okay.
Yep. Like,
it's hard to miss in this day and age, in our political day and age too, that we really are looking at a planet of waning resources.
Yes.
I mean, it's hard to miss that political message.
But in the same vein, you have all 6 stones, and you have the power of life, universe, all of it.
Point.
You could do something much better than take out. I mean, you could create new planets and new resources, right?
You've got this magic lamp. Yeah, why don't you create more stuff instead of?
I thought of that as well.
Maz, did you just have an epiphany?
Yeah, that was a great point. All on board with Thanos. I was like, I think we should leave him alone. We still have half the superheroes.
You're like, wow, dude just needed a better idea.
A perspective realignment.
Somebody give me Thanos stat. I have a great idea.
Absolutely.
Yes. Oh, man. But we got so much good
how
stuff.
How badass was Squidward? My God, I loved that character. He was amazing. He was so powerful and so confident and so competent. But I didn't mind his death at all. Even though it seemed kind of frivolous, it worked for me. I loved it. But that character was awesome. I wish they would bring him back. He was too cool.
Well, and what makes him scary? Yeah, they could totally bring him back. What makes him scary as a villain is that he was just very cold and calculating and just, I mean, he would have just tortured you to death, to get a cappuccino, like Yeah, I liked him too.
He was never perturbed. He never felt like he wasn't going to have the upper hand, and he always knew that he would.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a great villain, and his powers were super cool too.
He came in on that flying donut, and he owned the place. Yeah,
absolutely.
Too bad. Spider-Man is a classic horror film fan. Aliens.
Oh, that old movie.
That old movie. Yeah.
Damn millennials. But yeah, speaking of Spider-Man, they jammed that Stan Lee cameo into the beginning of the movie.
So do you think he's just filmed like 20 different small scenes that they could just edit into movies at random?
If they haven't, they better start doing it fast.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was a great scene on 2 in the van. He's like, Ned, I need a distraction. Oh my God, we're all gonna die. Yeah, that works.
I loved it when Spider-Man's like, I should have stayed on the bus.
Yeah. What, you kids never seen a flying big alien spaceship before? Who else is what? Good.
Speaking of Alien, did the spaceships remind you of the spaceships in Alien Covenant? They were the big round donut things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe they mentioned aliens intentionally.
Yeah, and he was talking about like if something bursts out of my chest and I try to eat you. I was like, that's so funny. I wonder if that was intentional.
I wonder if Aliens is a Disney property. Does anybody know?
If it's not, it might be soon. Who knows?
I was going to say, isn't everything owned by like Disney, Facebook, and Monsanto now?
So,
yeah.
Where do you think Thanos was at the end? Was he trapped in the Soul Stone? What was going on? Why was everything orange?
It could be another planet. If they've had him gone, they've had him go like farmer like that before. So I don't know. He could be in the Soul Stone. He could just be on another planet, retired. Who knows?
Did we see him snap his finger before everything happened, or
I think he did. Like he went like this, and everything went white, and then like
okay,
yeah.
The gauntlet was like even like all melted and stuff. So.
Yeah, and he went and saw little
Gamora,
what's her name?
Yeah.
Gamora, and I really did like that where she's like, you know, what did it cost you? And he's like, everything.
Oh, with somebody, I forget who, if it was Charlie or somebody else, somebody made the point last night, that whole like Realm of the Dead thing, like when he saw like young Gamora and stuff, did that remind anyone of like in Black Panther, like when he saw his father and all the previous Black Panther?
Oh, that's a good point.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
So maybe there's something there.
So how do you think this plays out in the next installment?
Like I said, they're gonna reverse everything, but it's like, is everybody really dead, or are they like in this like death-like realm or limbo or?
Oh, so are they everybody he killed? Are they going to be in the Soul Stone with him?
Who knows?
So imagine like Soul Fury and Soul Spider-Man have to fight Thanos in the Soul Stone. That'd be pretty dope.
Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder. I do think that if at the end of the second half we do not lose at least a couple of main characters, I will feel a little cheated. And I'm someone who loves a happy ending, but I do think this is the right thing. Again, I don't
know if they're saving. That's why they saved all those original Avengers. Maybe some of them are going to sacrifice themselves.
Yeah,
some of them are they're gonna end their runs, and they're gonna end their runs in a big noble way.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you'll recast. I mean, you will. They have set up the Marvel universe so that you can continue to move forward, and you actually can kind of like the Phantom. They always have. We're right now at the 21st Phantom, and of course, he's been in his 30s for 50 years. But the idea, you have different generations, so you could have a new generation of Iron Man. You could do going forward. So I think this will be interesting to see in what they're going to do. It certainly paid off. I did have a couple of people mention that, well, tell me who died, Jesse. And I said, I can't.
Everyone.
know.
Yeah, I just said, I said anything I tell you would be unfair. So after you see the movie, then come back and talk. Because the answer I could give is everyone. And you're like, what? And so,
or at least half. Exactly.
Yeah. And it's like so many that I can't even remember all of their names off the top of my head.
Pull out like this big scroll. Well,
and I liked the idea. Sorry, not to talk over you. I like the fact that they embraced this is half the story. We're not even giving you a pretend, happy ending. It's like everyone's dead. He is winning. He is looking out at the sunrise or sunset like he said he would. And they don't even till afterwards they go, not the Avengers will return, Thanos will return.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I just wonder if like any time is gonna pass between these movies, like the other ones, or if it's gonna be like 5 minutes later, because they did film these back to back. So
I just have to say, as somebody who was not steeped in any spoilers around this movie at all, I was shocked that it ended so painfully.
Abruptly. Yeah, definitely. Going back to what somebody, I think it was Moz said, are they going to be trapped in the Infinity Stone or the Soul Stone? Red Skull was there.
I was going to bring that up.
Ross Marquand.
Was that him?
That was him.
That was Ross's intro into the Marvel universe.
Because I was like, I don't think that's the original actor, but I was like, who's
that wasn't Agent Smith?
No, I knew it wasn't him, but I was like, I didn't know that was Ross Marquand. Oh,
the Soul Stone changes you.
I checked it out this morning. I made sure.
Yeah, I have it pulled up right now, but so that was a little bit of an Easter egg in that he tried to manipulate the Soul Stone and it basically absorbed him. So did that happen to Thanos? Did that happen to the Avengers? Like, are they trapped in the Soul Stone somewhere?
I would like to point out it means that Walking Dead is taking over the world.
But why would they put that in there? Why would he be the one that's guarding the Soul Stone if it doesn't mean something?
And maybe Thanos was pulled into the soul. Yeah, maybe he was pulled into the Soul Stone. Because in the end, now that I'm thinking about it, he didn't just like go through a portal. Didn't it look like he like fell in?
Yeah.
Like it was taking him. Like
yes.
Like and maybe when he gave Gamora up, the price really wasn't paid.
Maybe it was his soul. Maybe ultimately it's his soul.
Because he doesn't really love anything, so the only thing it could take is his soul.
Or the only thing he loves enough to sacrifice is himself.
Right.
The only thing that he loved enough to sacrifice was his plan for the universe. He saw his home world get destroyed, and he was so affected by that he made this plan, and it drove everything that he did his entire life. The torture of Gamora and Nebula, thank you. And everyone else in the universe, he had this drive, and so maybe giving up Gamora wasn't the thing. Maybe it was giving up his plan, and so he's trapped in the Soul Stone, and all of this was just a dream.
Okay, Bobby Ewing.
I was gonna say.
Who shot JR?
Yes.
Oh, what did everybody think of Peter Dinklage?
Oh, loved it. That was awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he was wonderful in it.
He's amazing in anything he does.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just love that they made him a giant dwarf. Not just a dwarf, a giant dwarf.
That was amazing.
Boy, it'll kill you. Only if you die. Only if I die. That's what it means.
Yeah, that was very cool.
Yeah.
So much.
I want to know if Wong lived.
Oh, yeah, they never did show at the end. Yeah.
No. Yeah. Maybe like it's going to be Wong and Rocket that save the world.
And the Hulk.
Because Yeah, the non-Hulk at this point. But yeah, I just loved when Tony was like, "You're invited to my wedding, Wong."
I mean, yeah, like, I mean, like those original Avengers are still around. I mean, is Hawkeye going to come out of retirement, or is that permanent?
Thank you. I would like to see him and the Ant-Man again, please.
Well,
Yeah.
Especially Hawkeye.
Ant-Man and the Wasp comes out in July. So
Now, what's the timeline going to be on that? Obviously, it's going to be well before this whole thing, right?
I thought Charlie was saying it's Ant-Man and the Wasp is supposed to take place around the same time as Black Panther took place.
Oh, okay.
But I thought it'd be interesting if it was present day and just seeing people freak out about, half the population disappearing.
Okay.
Oh, that's an excellent point.
Okay, and so in real life, wouldn't everybody be freaking out that the rapture happened? Right?
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yes, they would.
We've seen aliens and alien technology, but nope, this was the rapture. That happened.
Lord. Yeah, and guess what you get for being good? You end up in the Soul Stone with Thanos.
And Red Skull.
And Red Skull. There you go. Good job.
It would be worse than the Purge out there.
Yeah.
It would. It would be post-apocalyptic. And then Diane and I would have another podcast.
Yeah, there we go.
Because that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking there's not going to be that much time that takes place between Avengers 3 and 4 because it comes out next year, but if you do that year gap, think about how much crap's going to go down in a year.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think it'll be quick.
It'll have to be back to back. Yeah.
And I think what's also amazing is, how many movies we have between now and next year. Marvel is just almost flooding the market. Like we're not going to leave any weekends free, for other studios. It's crazy.
When they moved this one up a week, I think, what were they saying? I think it was the Amy Schumer movie was supposed to come out this week, and then they saw Infinity War rescheduled to this weekend, and they're like, "Oh no, we're moving up. We're not going to be on the same weekend."
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know why Disney's pumping out all these movies.
Oh yeah, there we go.
That's the top 3 highest grossers. It's this movie, Force Awakens, and Last Jedi. I said Disney is very happy right now.
Yes, they are feeling good.
Meanwhile, Ben Affleck's trying to decide what to get on his pizza.
Gal Gadot is going to save the universe, I say, as I'm sitting here in my Wonder Woman PJs.
I hope so. That's the only good thing they've done since the first Superman movie.
Man, I agree.
I don't know, man. Aquaman.
He needs to have his own movie.
He spends like 2/3 of the movie shirtless. It'll be fine. Everything will be fine.
That thing's good.
She got her money's worth.
That thing's gonna hit 100 million opening weekend just for more now.
They'll be like, "Oh, the sound's not working." I'll be like, "Play it anyway. Play it anyway."
That's funny.
Everything's made up and the sound doesn't matter.
When is Disney just going to buy DC already?
They already own the X-Men.
Well, yeah, they're about to.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're about to get X-Men back, Fantastic Four back, so hopefully we'll get a good movie of them finally.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do wonder, just Warner Brothers just doesn't seem to get what they need to do. And as I said before, I'm a DC fanboy. I grew up loving Superman and Batman, and I enjoy the DC universe movies despite all their flaws. But, this was an intricate building. And, I have a friend who always, when he talks about it, it all goes together. It all fits together. He's always, and this has been this intricate ad. And I don't think since the Dark Knight trilogy, where he had a plan, Christopher Nolan had a plan. He wanted to tell a story. They just don't have I don't think, to be redundant, I don't think they have a plan. I don't think they have a scope of what they want to do.
Well, they want to be Marvel now, But
Yeah.
I mean, the good and the bad. Marvel's taken 10 years to get where they're at.
Right.
Now.
They don't want to do the work.
No, they don't want to put the time
They
in.
don't know who they are, and they've sold their soul twice or 3 times over to try to get it right. And now
Well-
they're just completely bankrupt and have no currency left to spend.
But we keep buying it. They keep selling it. We keep buying it.
Well,
Yeah,
because we keep hoping.
You know?
yeah, it's like, oh, maybe this one will be the good one. And I mean,
Maybe
with Wonder,
this one will
and
be the Wonder Woman.
I was gonna say, in Wonder Woman, you know,
Yeah.
want them a little bit of credit, you know.
Yeah.
So-
And no, I
Go
just
ahead.
was going to say, like, as someone, you know, you sit there and, you know, before the credits, before the, you know, the previews come on, you're sitting there, please be good, please be good, please be good, please be good. You know, and it's just
Or at the very least, don't screw it up. Don't screw it up. Don't
Yeah.
screw it up.
right.
Well, Jesse, I mean, you know that they announced they might be doing a Nightwing movie. I was like, oh man, do I want this? I mean, I want a Nightwing movie, but do I want Warner's to do it?
Yeah, you know, and you know, I'm excited about the Titans live action. You know,
Yes.
Charles and I are going to do the podcast on it. Thank you for visiting with us when we talked about you know, Dick Grayson. But you do wonder, okay, are they going to do this right? Will they do this the right way? And you know, I'm a big fan of CW's shows. I think the TV universe for the DC it works for me.
Oh, yeah.
But I am not. I definitely, as much as it hurts, you know, it hurts me. I would rank the Marvel. They're consistently funny and they're consistently good. I mean, and they can do different ways. The Ant-Man, you know, a caper movie. You know, the Guardians of the Galaxy, a little bit of a slapstick science fiction fun. I mean, they can do different kinds of movies. They don't have one mold. Okay, we're going to have a lot of fight scenes and the world's going to be, you know, we're going to have a crazy villain. They just do things differently and they figure out, and I think it's because they try to find good filmmakers and let them share your vision.
Well, I mean, yeah, because I mean, just look at the results. I mean, they can't get people to care about Justice. The third Thor movie made more money than Justice League. And I mean, who doesn't know Thor?
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't know Superman and Batman? I mean, your
Right.
grandparents know Superman and Batman. But meanwhile, Marvel, I mean, they can get you to care about their second and third tier characters in a movie.
Yeah, but just look at all of the platforms that they have used. I mean, you have the Marvel movies, which are their cash cow. You have the Netflix series, which are very dark and very serious and very story driven. And then you have the television shows that are very family friendly and oriented for primetime TV. So they have everything. They have used all platforms to get to where they are. And DC hasn't really utilized any of those things the way that Marvel has.
No, not at all.
Well, again, Marvel is like one cohesive thing. It's all one universe. DC, they're like, okay, our shows are one universe, our movies are another universe.
Yeah.
It's like a mess.
Mhm.
All I have to say is Patty Jenkins, give Marnell a call.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a bold move if they went to Patty and said, okay, you know, how do you want to do this? How do you want to go this?
She's the only one who's had a mega hit.
Right. So, you know, you go find filmmakers and you plot a 5-6 year plan and let's do this. And we're going to gamble on this because it couldn't be any worse than what we've already had. You know, there is a core audience that if you throw a Superman movie out, we're going to go.
Yeah.
And
You
then
know,
when
that's
go ahead.
That's a really good point, Jesse. I mean, I work for a little tiny clinic in rural Alaska, and we've got a 5-year plan. How come
Yeah.
DC doesn't have a 5-year plan?
Yeah. But what you want to get is, you know, people say, that latest Thor movie is funny. Well, I haven't seen the other two. Doesn't matter. You'll catch up very quickly. Just go. You'll enjoy that movie. You know, and there isn't that same sense on the DC universe, and that it hurts me to say that, but it's just true.
Yeah, but do they have?
Although,
like,
in all fairness, I did I love Justice League, and I think it's because of my fondness for Aquaman, and I think it's because of my deep, deep love for Wonder Woman. In all fairness, I did love it. I was able to put aside.
Oh, I loved it
my
too. I'm a
critic.
fan. I have not been disappointed in any of the DC Universe movies, but I just know they're almost in baseball analogy, right? They're AAA movies compared to the major leagues of the Marvel.
Good point.
But I will say, I enjoyed Justice League immensely, and it was because they nailed the relationships between the characters. Those really worked. They had great chemistry between everybody. Everybody felt like they were having a good time while they were filming it, and they got along with each other, and that it showed on film. Those interactions between everybody, even the jokes felt natural and real. Their relationships felt real. And I think they nailed the dialogue by figuring out what they wanted to be. They didn't want to be the super jokey. They didn't want to be super serious, but just make a good movie and have the relationships work. And I think you'll have a good time.
All right.
Absolutely.
Let me give you an analogy. All right. DC, they had to digitally erase Henry Cavill's mustache. Marvel, they just grew a beard around Chris Evans' mustache. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah. So what I think part of the other thing is Marvel they've got this slick down to a fine grain that, you know, they can just churn these out one after the other. They have the writers, they have the directors, they have the producers, they have all their CGI team put together. And I think DC focuses a little bit more on the fanboys, the people who are hard and fast comic people. Whereas Marvel is watered down for the masses. We can all find something to enjoy.
Okay, that's one way of voicing that opinion. The other way could be saying that by focusing so much on the geekdom, they forgot to make a good movie that had geekdom in it. Whereas Marvel, they know how to make a good movie. They know how to make you care about something.
Excellent
and they
point.
did that with a good source material, and they kept it there. So, I mean, I think they're just better at making good movies and not necessarily focusing as much on getting things accurate or anything like that.
Oh yeah, I think the Marvel stuff, it's like, look at, they focus, they make sure to put in some heart, some humor, some, emotion, good story, got some action, and DC's just like, look at this pretty thing we made.
Right.
Well, this is like the conversation that we have around Preacher, which is that it's really smart, it's really funny, it is so focused on the Preacher fans that it loses the greater audience.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now that Marvel has sort of paved the way and there's a roadmap for this, DC could absolutely follow in their footsteps. I don't think they could ever get as big as Marvel is now, but they could definitely become bigger and expand their fan base, their universe, their characters.
I mean, eventually they could, but they have to put the time in.
Absolutely.
Right. They should have been bigger all along. There's nothing bigger than Superman and Batman.
No.
Right.
And we've been waiting, ever since we first saw these characters for them to be together. It was the ultimate thing. We've been waiting for. Other movies threw it in as a Easter egg,
Maz, you are so right. When you're looking at a world where the X-Men are bigger than Superman and Batman.
That shouldn't be.
Yeah,
right.
That's crazy.
And then you think
And
about
I
it.
love the X-Men. But
Yeah, I do too. But I'm older than dirt, but I remember going to, seeing the first Christopher Reeve Superman.
That's when I was born.
When it was coming out. Right. Yeah, I was in, I was born in 59. So what? I'm 18, 19, and I remember that preview, You'll Believe a Man Can Fly, and when we watched that movie, my jaw dropped because it looked like he flew. I mean, I was amazed. And I stand to this day, the scene where Christopher Reeves is in Lois's living room and she's off camera and he takes his glasses off and all of a sudden he's Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes back and he's Clark Kent. You go, yes, that's it. It isn't the glasses. That's, and I know many people who rank superhero movies give that first Superman you know, if it's not the greatest one ever, it's in the discussion because it just changed the way we think of it. So you've got that legacy. If you do it right and do it well, you know, I'm not saying it'll be better than Marvel. No, I mean, there's room for us to love both. And so, but I think just as many people will embrace that.
Right. But I think they had a much higher springboard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, to get us to care about the Guardians of the Galaxy, whom I'd never heard of before, is a monumental task that they were able to do really, really well. Meanwhile, they've got Batman and Superman, and I couldn't care less.
Yeah.
That is well said, because I had never read a Guardians of the Galaxy comic, you know, and I've been reading comics probably since 1963, you know, but I never had. I just hadn't. And, you know, I'm like, okay, they say this is fun, I'll go. And you're like, oh my goodness, why do I care about a raccoon that's shooting a gun? But I do.
Or a tree that can only say 3 words.
Yes, I know.
And even before that first Ant-Man movie, I mean, you know, even hardcore fanboys were like, you know, is this movie gonna work? You know, are people gonna care about Ant-Man?
Wait, we have an Ant-Man and a Spider-Man?
Yeah.
That was a good line.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, I knew I was having a good night when I had not seen the Ant-Man and Wasp trailer. And when Scott goes, she has wings? Oh, yeah. She has blasters? Yeah. Was that not available when you're bidding my suit? And he's like, oh, no.
Oh, no, it was.
It's like, what? That's hilarious.
That was great.
But, you know, but they said, okay, I can't do a Ant-Man tele-origin, fight a battle. You know, we're going to have to do this a different kind of film. And so it's a caper film. And it's a hilarious caper film.
It was so good. It was way better than it had any right to be.
Yeah.
It was an incredibly perfect film for what it was.
Yeah, and that's the thing is every superhero movie doesn't have to be we're gonna save the universe movie.
Right.
And Marvel knows that, and I think that's why we care about the Ant-Man and, you know, Rocket
Spider-Man.
and yes. Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
I mean, and look how many DC actors Marvel's stolen.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Michael Keaton is the Vulture in that Spider-Man movie. Oh my god,
it's amazing. Yeah, he is. He's
God, I completely forgot about that.
And Michelle Pfeiffer is going to be Michael Douglas's wife in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, so the original Wasp, we're thinking. So that's perfect.
Yep.
Absolutely. So it's a long year to wait, right?
Yeah. Yes. May 3rd, 2019. Tentatively, if they don't move it up a week.
And I read somewhere that it's already filmed, so you will not see any of the Defenders in there as much as people want that connection. I just don't think it's going to happen. You know, and I'm looking forward to you know, the rest of the movies that are going to get us there a lot, including Miss Marvel.
Oh, Captain Marvel. Yeah, that's going to be fun because that's set in the 90s. It's their origin story. So I think they said you're going to see younger Sam Jackson and Phil Coulson.
So, and that's the thing. The next movie that we have coming out is Ant-Man and Wasp on July 6th. And then March 8th, 2019 is when we get to see Captain Marvel. And then in May, they're going to do Infinity Wars 2. So you're going to get that Captain Marvel backstory because, of course, there was a lot of people at the end, and I had, like Diane had the benefit of somebody shouting it out in the movie that, you know, it wasn't the bad signal. It was signal to Captain Marvel. And like people who weren't fans were like, who's Captain Marvel? And so you're going to get that benefit, you know, 2 months ahead of time to get her backstory and then go see this second Infinity Wars.
See, I mean, like we were talking about the Marvel DC thing. Marvel definitely has a deep plan for this stuff. I mean, there's a reason Black Panther was right before Infinity War. There's a reason Captain Marvel's going to be right before the next one.
Wakanda forever.
Yes.
Did anybody watch that parody? I think it was from Jimmy Fallon. I've watched this video so many times where some of the cast sings it's a parody.
The Marvel Bunch.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that.
I love to look for that.
But I will tell you that I had to, when I got home after watching it, I had to do Black Jeopardy with him on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, Chadwick.
And I
Boseman,
just,
yeah.
it's just like my mother's in my cable bill's in my mother's name because you want to honor her. You know, I love that the character is so, yeah, it's going to be great. And I'm excited that we got to share some time talking about this with you guys.
Oh yeah, I was watching. I recorded Jimmy Kimmel all week because the cast was on there all week, and the week was it Tuesday or Wednesday night? Chadwick Boseman was on there, and he's like, if he says if there's a day where I don't feel like going Wakanda forever, I don't leave the house, because everywhere he goes, he's like, everyone's expecting me to go Wakanda forever.
That's awesome.
He's like, they chase me down the streets like Wakanda forever.
Well, and whoever does the Fat Man with Batman podcast with Kevin Smith, I don't remember his co-host, but
Mark Bernardin.
Yeah, he talked about that he was walking down the street and someone, instead of saying hey, said 2 weeks to Black Panther. And he's like, has that become a new, like, obviously this is before it opened, he says, is that now like a new greeting among the community? So hey, 2 weeks to Black Panther. So
this is how we measure time now for when the next superhero movie comes out. Like, it's not the 2-year cycle of the elections or the 4 years. It's when the next superhero movie comes out. That's how we tell the time.
Well,
that's the true magic of the time zone.
Absolutely. And Governor Palin, that's why I would have backed you on your vote. That I think because Black Panther was such this cultural, I would have bet money that Avengers just would have been short a little bit. But I guess what happened is all the extra people that they got into the universe because of the Black Panther movie then said, oh, I want to go see this movie. Plus all the normal, quote unquote, Avenger fans go in there. And that's why it became a bigger opening.
Well, and this was a very Wakanda-heavy Marvel movie.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So.
Black Panther 1.5, Infinity War.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And thank you for the vote of confidence on whether or not I was going to win the bet or not. I'm a little surprised, but not disappointed. And I just have to say, Palin Thanos 2024.
Yes.
But yeah, Capes and Lunatics listeners, just expect a bunch of Sarah Palin drops in your future.
We'll totally have to record those at some point.
Yes. So, well, guys, this has been great. I've got to go get ready for. I just heard the dryer go off, and then it's Sunday night as we're doing this, and I have you got to get ready for the work week, and that includes catching up with laundry. So, Phil, thank you so much for inviting me to join you guys. This has been a blast.
Hey, thank you. I mean, let's. I think why don't we all just wrap this up? But Jesse, where are the 20 podcasts where people can find you?
So I am. Next Stop Everywhere with my buddy Charles Skaggs and I. We are talking about the Doctor Who universe. We are doing a Titans talk podcast, getting ready for the Teen Titans direct series that's coming out. We're looking forward to that. And then me blabbering on about music, Set Lusting Bruce, the Bruce Springsteen podcast, where I talk to Bruce Springsteen fans across the world, talking about their musical journey. And as always, if you have a musician you're passionate about, I do B-side episodes so if you're love the Foo Fighters, you can come in and join me. If you're a big Kiss fan, join me and we'll talk about that. We have a lot of fun on that. And on Twitter, I am at Jesse Jackson DFW. Because if you don't put DFW, you get a lot of political rants put out there. Hey, Jesse Jackson, how about white people matter? Like, I'm just obsessed with Doctor Who, Superman and Bruce Springsteen. So thank you.
I told you before, you should get ordained so you can make appearances at every con as the Reverend Jesse
Jackson. That would be nice. Yes.
Well, thank you, Jesse.
No problem.
Laws, where can people find you?
They can find me on Facebook under Moz Manzor, or email me at mozmanzor@gmail.com. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
And you can find him trying to get a word in edgewise with Charlie Esser on all the Marvel Netflix reviews right here on Capes and Lunatics. Diane?
You can find us at Biters on Southgate Media. You can also find us with, oh my God, Marnell, it's been so long. What's the title of our Reacher podcast?
The good
word.
news.
The good news.
According to AMC's Preacher. Yes.
And we
Facebook.com/biters. Biters on Twitter, although we're not very prolific on Twitter. But yeah, we are recording Fear the Walking Dead here in the next day or two.
To Fear tonight.
Yep. So we are the Real Housewives of Alaska.
Any final thoughts to take us out, Governor Palin?
Drill, baby, drill. And
that's what she said.
Fake news, liberal media. And hail Hydra.
Wow. Okay.
That's the end of our big 50th Capes and Lunatics Avengers Infinity War extravaganza. Oh my God. I want to thank all our guests from last night, everyone who supports us week to week, everyone who listens and watches on YouTube. Remember, subscribe on YouTube. Email us capesandlunatics@gmail.com. Call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And oh man, I got Tristan Esser voicemail. All right.
Like and share on Facebook.
What?
Like and share on Facebook.
That's right.
Please do.
I will definitely tag everyone here so you can share it.
Excellent.
Nice. Good deal.
And thank you, Governor Palin. You will be getting my list soon.
You betcha.
I read all the magazines.